the news has been breaking recently that the athletic program at Tennessee, Danny White, so basically Danny White is looking at moving back to Adidas. So for every Vols fan knows that Adidas used to be our provider for athletic wear. We changed over to Nike, and everyone loves Nike gear, man, and
Yep.
the athletes love Nike as well. And so now it's been this question of, are we going to switch from Nike over to Adidas? There's been some talk, Austin, that some of these players are not a huge fan of that. And you and I have talked about, man, it might hurt us in recruiting as well. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I'll first give my thoughts on it. Like we said, it's not necessarily a done deal yet. It's heavily rumored that we are switching back to Adidas. Richard G. West on Twitter, a known troll reporter on Twitter, reported it. That's a $200 million deal. Uh, Honestly, that dude is kind of worrying because like sometimes he just gets stuff right, and I'm like, is he an insider that's pretending to be a troll? It's a weird situation, but at the end of the day, we don't know any details yet, and it's not official. But my thoughts are that we shouldn't do it. Obviously, like I think people remember the football jerseys and even the baseball jerseys. You said it mostly affects football, but we take it for granted in baseball. We have some of the nicest
Yeah.
baseball jerseys in the country right now, and basketball. So it will impact every sport. And Adidas was just bad, man. Like everyone agrees that Adidas was terrible. Like the jerseys looked yellow some years, they looked brown other years. They could never, excuse me, they could never get our orange right. It seemed like they could just never get it right. The jerseys are just cheaper. They just don't. They just look cheaper to me, man. And then the hideous black jerseys, all the hideous smoky gray jerseys. It's just they just don't look great. They just don't look great. Um, and Ron is making a good point about the chat. Is like if Adidas and Blake, you made this point right when the whole conversation started, which is if Adidas pays us more money than Nike, like a significant amount more money, then it makes sense because we'll have more to spend in NIL. And I totally agree with that. Like if that's the reason, if it's money based and Adidas promises that they're just going to be better. Like I hope that's part of the promise as well. Hey, just be better than you were last time.
Right.
Which I don't think is I don't think that's a hard sell right now. It's like, we have one of the hottest programs in the country. Like you should make us a priority, and we're, obviously a big fish for them to catch. So, but yeah, dude, like if it helps recruiting, then I'm all for it. Like if it means we're going to have, more money to pay players, I'm all for it. However, Blake, the point you just touched on, and one of the points I've been kind of bringing up since this discussion started is some players just don't want to play in non-Nike gear or specifically Adidas gear. Like Adidas looks so bad, and I mean, you have former players coming out and trashing Adidas. Blake, former players that played here during the Adidas era, like Derek Rogers came out and trashed. I mean, Derek Rogers was a baller, by the way. People don't realize that boy could play. Um,
I remember.
with old Justin Hunter and CPAP, what an offense. But anyway, he's coming out and trashing it, and then you have current players coming out and potentially trashing this deal. It's like that's not a good look, man. If players are saying they don't want to play in non-Nike gear or specifically Adidas gear, then the administration has to take that into account. And hopefully, kind of like Rhonda's saying, maybe use it as leverage to get a better deal with Nike. That's the most ideal outcome, right? You get the money and you still get Nike. It's like that's obviously the best possible outcome we can get from all of this. But overall, my thoughts are if it helps recruiting, if it's a net plus in recruiting, I'm all for it. But I'm concerned that it will be a net negative in recruiting. Plus, we have crappy jerseys again.
That is the key right there, right? What is the net result? Is it going to obviously everyone cares about winning the most. Look, if we win freaking national championships, we'll
And
wear crappy
Adidas, I
jerseys.
don't care.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't care.
care. Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
listen, we won the '98 championship in Adidas. Okay, so we'll wear crap all the live long day if we're winning. So the issue comes down to can we get better players with the Adidas deal? And you're right, it does. It's about the money because ultimately I think look, yes, a lot of the players are like, man, I don't want to do Adidas stuff. But if you give them more money, they're not going to care either, right? We've talked about that. Yes, they still care, but if they get a bigger paycheck, I personally think most players are going to prefer a bigger paycheck over them what they look like. Now, look, I'm not here. I'm going to come out and be a bit of a boomer, Austin. Okay, some of these players these days give me a little bit of feminine energy. Okay, they're doing their selfie pics. They're wanting to look good and look pretty and on the field and all this that and the other instead of just freaking playing ball. But I get it. That's the situation we're in right now. And so I think you're absolutely obviously you're absolutely right. It is huge, and obviously more players are going to want Nike more than they're going to want Adidas. That is just a fact, right? That's a fact. The question comes down to the money. Can we get better and more players with more money from Adidas? And if we can, then so be it. But if we can't, dude, and we end up with the worst
Oh,
jerseys,
oh,
the freaking yellow jerseys again, that would not be good.
I I think it's obvious that we would be doing this for NIL purposes. Like that is pretty obvious. Like you're doing this to boost the value of the program in some way or another. It's just a question of how much value does the Nike brand bring, like that's not money related. That's kind of the question. But I'm at least happy that the administration is kind of acknowledging that, hey, we need to be creative here to get a competitive advantage. Like, and we've been kind of like, I guess front runners in that in a way, dude. Like, trailblazers, if you will, as far as ways to get an advantage. Like we have the talent fee, which people aren't happy about. Let's just be honest. People aren't super happy about the additional 10% talent fee added onto the tickets. But it is trailblazing, right? You're trailblazing to try to get an advantage over these other programs that have built-in advantages, right? Like Ohio State's built-in advantage is no competition in the area, the big the big admission into the school. Then you have Oregon's built-in advantage, which is you literally have the owner of Nike who's a fan of your school, alumni of your school, and then you have schools like Texas, the oil money, whatever. Well, we don't necessarily have any built-in advantages other than we have a super loyal and passionate fan base. And obviously, we're not hurting on money. It's not like we're one of these bottom-dwelling programs like Alabama or something like that. But but
Got him.
anyway,
Got him.
yeah. But yeah, so we have to find different ways, right, to come up with more money to pay players. And if signing with Adidas is that, then so be it, right? So be it. But I think part of the deal has to be Adidas promising that we're not getting crappy yellow jerseys anymore. You have to promise us that, because we better see at least 50 mock-ups of different jerseys across all sports, right? Across all sports using our actual color, that tells us, okay, we can actually sign on the dotted line here, because they never got the Smoky Grays, right? The Smoky Grays always sucked under Adidas, and that's one of our coolest jerseys in all of our sports. Dark Mode, one of the coolest jerseys in all of our sports. Somehow they couldn't get black jerseys right. It's a black jersey. How did you screw up a black jersey, dude? You're literally the first company ever to screw that up. But I'm hoping that if they pay us $200 million, dude, they're gonna do their absolute best to make these jerseys look good, right? I mean, you have to. That's a huge investment in that company. So you would think they would put more effort into actually making this jersey like, a big thing, because they've lost most of the big schools, right? And if they get one of the big schools back, like Tennessee, then let's make Tennessee like the program of Adidas, and make them like us the headlining program, and put in some energy into it, unlike before when, let's be honest, the jerseys sucked. They sucked.
You can't screw it up if you're given that opportunity again
Yes.
to be on a brand like Tennessee, right? Because look, we got a lot of haters, but at the end of the day, Tennessee is a massive brand.
Yes.
Dude, you see, the power tee everywhere. I was out in Arizona, bro, for the 2022 Alabama game, and there was in Sierra Vista, Arizona, bro. That's on the Mexican border, bro.
Yeah.
And there's a fellow Tennessee fan in the Buffalo Wild Wings in there watching the game when I was watching the game with my friends out there. It's a huge brand, and so you can't screw this up if you're given this opportunity again. And I absolutely agree with you. It's got to be. I mean, honestly, you can't. It's hard to kind of put that into a contract, but in terms of promising to make it better. But I think you made a great point about, hey, look, we need to see mock-ups before we sign this deal. We need to see that you
Yes.
can fucking do it. And we've seen that Nike. I mean, if Nike can do it, then Adidas can do it in terms of just get the orange right, man.
Yeah.
I can tell you the number on the color palette if you need me to. Okay, I can tell you the hex and everything. It's Pantone 151C. It's I mean, why can you not get it right? You know,
I agree, man. Exactly. And I mean, I still ultimately like don't want this to happen. Like Nike's been really good. I mean, like I said, we have some of the like best jerseys in the country, dude. Like especially baseball wise, like our baseball, like literally the baseball jerseys we were wearing today are some of my favorite in the sport. So it's gonna be sad if we move off Nike, but hopefully it's for the better in recruiting. That's ultimately our take, right? If it's better for recruiting, then we're for it.
that is the bottom line, indeed. A quick shout out on the chat here. Thanks to Rhonda. Rhonda's talking about the Adidas and Nike situation. She says that she doesn't like Adidas, but I like the money. Absolutely, exactly like we're talking about. If it brings us championships, then we're all in. Absolutely agree with you on that, Rhonda. Um, and where she says if we're winning, then that's what matters, and bigger paycheck, the players can buy their own Nike stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, exactly. Obviously, they want to play in certain gear. That's kind of the point from the player's perspective. But again, if Adidas can deliver some good gear and we can get more money, get bigger paychecks to these players, then so be it.
But
But
to
if
your
we can't,
point, yeah.
then stick with Nike, dude.
Yeah, stick with Nike. But to your point earlier, Blake, about players like worried about more how they look than how they play, there was literally a game. I was watching Auburn versus A&M today, and a fielder missed a fly ball because he lost it in the sun. He had sunglasses on the top of his hat. The sunglasses weren't actually on. He wasn't actually wearing the sunglasses to see the ball. He just wanted it for drip. And the announcer absolutely flamed him, dude. Absolutely flamed him. The announcer, Chris Burke, a UT alum, absolutely best baseball announcer in the game, by the way. If I could watch every single Tennessee baseball game with Chris Burke on the call, I would absolutely do it 100% of the time. Absolutely love that guy. But he flamed the guy. It's like, dude, like the sunglasses are there to wear, not for drip. They're there to wear so you can see the ball in the sun. They're not for like a part of your uniform. But yeah, that's kind of how players' mindsets are, man.
I definitely show my boomer side when I think about stuff like that. How you know, Austin, you know, I'm a big Al Wilson fan. I always go back to Al Wilson,
Oh, you
dude.
got
You
to,
know,
man. It's
look,
always good to go back to Al Wilson.
listen. He was wearing, the freaking, '90s jerseys that Adidas crap, and it was whatever. All he had to do was put on that neck pad, bro, and he's out there freaking being a beast, out there being a monster, and he's just putting it all out on the field. Doesn't give a damn what he looks like, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's a different time, I guess. I'm not gonna get on my boomer soapbox. We'll move on. Um, Austin, Adidas versus Nike's final take, man. Just freaking win at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I don't whatever it takes. Whatever the answer is to win more games, do that.
If it's net winning, we're pro. But if it results in the same amount of winning and we just have crap jerseys, then let's pass.
Let's hard pass,
Let's pass on it.
please.